Hello everyone, and welcome back to IeshaNyreeTV, where we talk voiceover and creativity and all sorts of other crazy fun stuff. So today I want to actually do a little breakdown of some voiceover voices that I do. And today I want to kind of work through a voice that I use a lot. I call it my corporate voice. So how this got started, I used to work in corporate America for a very large, huge financial services institute, which will remain nameless. Those people that are in the know which company I'm talking about, but I used to work there for a really long time. And over the years I would listen to all sorts of videos and instructional tapes and all sorts of recorded messages. And since I was working as an administrative assistant when I started at that company, I had to answer the phone, so I wanted to make it more and more professional. And since I had all this acting training and I had a pretty good ear, I just kind of incorporated a lot of different elements into my phone voice, how I answered the phone. It's not like sexy phone voice. It's not that intense, but it was my go-to corporate voice, and I still use it for all sorts of telephony items that I might get hired to do, because that's what I primarily used it for. When I started doing videos and training videos, that same corporate style voice, a lot of those elements kept creeping in to the videotape, which is great because now it turns out it's a really fun voice that I can use for industrials. It's great for training videos, and I also use it sometimes for commercials depending on what the product is. The thing about doing voiceovers, unlike just doing straight acting, especially if you're doing commercial work, you always have to remember corporations and companies are hiring your voice, they're hiring your services because they want to sell product. Yeah, it's a business. They're trying to sell product. So they're hoping your sound will help them sell product. So the more you learn about marketing and business and what sells, that really does help your voiceover industry, your voiceover business as well. And so my corporate voice takes a lot of these elements to help the companies create and mold the image that they're trying to portray. So what exactly is it? It tries to create an image of the person on the phone is responsible, is knowledgeable, they know what they're talking about, is helpful, is ready to be of service, that they're going to take care of you. So it's got to create a sound of not quite authoritarian, because it doesn't have to be that intense. I can put that color on it if I need to, depending on what the project is. But mostly it's clear, it's knowledgeable, it's soothing. If think of telephony, you're calling a company, you're frazzled, you're tired, you know you're gonna have to wait in a phone tree. You want a voice reassuring you that's going to explain things to you that you can understand. So it takes all these fun elements. Now, how I get there, I found that for me, sometimes my voice, I think it's a pretty strong chest voice, so it's got some rich sounds to it, but when I put on that corporate voice, it does force my voice a little bit deeper. I'm not trying to go bass, I'm just trying to give it a little bit more depth to it. So how I get there is I try to force the sound coming from directly from the back of my mouth, right on the other side, like to the back of the tongue. It's as though, like when you're singing and you're trying to get really loud, belty notes, you would go, hey, hey, like you would shout out to force the sound right from the back of your throat to help it project. So that's where I'm making that sound for the corporate voice. How I get there, I really try to force my tongue down. So I know you can't see it because I don't have the close-up angle. But if you were talking, so when you open your mouth and you can see just regular opening your mouth, your tongue is kind of raised. I know it looks so weird when I'm doing this in camera, but try it. Look in a mirror and you open your mouth and you see your tongue is raised. Now, to see and feel what it's like when you lower the back of your tongue, you're just going to look in the mirror, open your mouth, and go, ah. I hope you can see that. Ah. And that saying the ah forces the back of your tongue down. ah, and you should be able to see all the back of your throat and your uvula and all that fun stuff. Try that a couple times, and then you'll get the feeling of how it's a small adjustment, but you'll feel how when your tongue is flat, what that's like. So when I do my corporate voice, my goal is to keep my tongue as flat in the back as I possibly can. I'm also trying to keep a very smooth rhythm. It goes in a rhythm like this, always like this. Rhythm, dun, dun, dun. Sort of like your heartbeat, or it's not quite I am a potato, but it's going in a rhythm like this. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. So it's very, 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 very steady, like you have like a metronome with you. It's not very sing-songy at all. The more sing-songy it gets, the less authority you lose. So if it starts to go up and down like this, up and down like this, up and down, which might sound really pretty, but it's not corporate. It's just not a sound. If you really want to get an idea, start listening to a lot of executives, even politicians like Meet the Press or any sort of shows like that, and you'll see it's a little bit more monotone, but they will punch up key phrases that they think are important. So now I wish I had some real copy, so that I'm always careful about which copy I use, because I really don't want anyone to say, oh, you stole our copy. I'm not in the mood to deal with a lawsuit today, so I'm just going to try to make up some. So this is how the corporate sound is a little bit different from my own voice. So you've heard my voice and you've heard it on other videos. So this is me and how I talk with my hands. But then when I put the corporate voice on, the corporate voice comes from a different location in your mouth. It becomes really a part of you. It becomes that part that you listen to when you're listening on the phone, when you're waiting in a phone queue, or when you're looking at an ATM. It sounds weird, doesn't it? So that is my corporate voice. I use that one quite a bit. And it's the one that people hang up on me on whenever I answer the phone. Hello, and thank you for calling. And they start beeping at me because they're trying to bypass me. And then I have to say, I'm still here. This is a real person. This is not an operator. Please leave your message. Or like, oh my gosh, that's so weird. So that is one of my corporate voices. Play around with it. Just remember, keep your tongue flat. It's not a sing-song. It doesn't go really up and down. It stays flat, but it punches up the key phrases. What you're really looking for is creating some depth to your voice, and make sure you end at the there's not an inflection at the end. At the end of a sentence, like, it's not a question. It doesn't turn it, never do that when you're doing your corporate voice. Corporate voices don't ask questions at the end of their sentences. They already know the answer. So make sure it all stays flat throughout. So that is my fun corporate voice. So I'm sure there are many others. Play around with it. See what your very corporate voice sounds like, and figure just keep practicing and playing with it and see how it turns out. Hope you enjoyed today, and we will be back tomorrow with a new topic. We're going to see what just moves me. Maybe it'll be more about voiceover. If you guys like this type of stuff, then just, leave me a comment page. Don't forget to check out different audiobooks I'm working on more editing tonight, so very excited. But that's it for tonight, so we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.